There we go. All right. Good afternoon. This is Panda Consulting's ArcGIS workshop. Today, we're going to go and look at creating a map series using bookmarks inside of ArcGIS Pro. We're actually going to look at more than just bookmarks. We're going to look at also doing it through um, using another feature class, and then also looking at creating thematic map series. Uh, Again, my name is Frank Conkling. And this is, let's start off. Let's talk about how, before we start, at the lower right corner is a QR code, which will take you to Panda Consulting's website. It'll tell you who we are, what we do, why we do it, how we do it. It'll also give you at the very bottom of the first page a link that you could sign up for a monthly newsletter, which gives you links so that you can actually attend live these recordings, ask questions, and share ideas. We are an ESRI business partner since we were founded um, 27 years ago. We are the first business partner to receive the parcel management specialty designation, and we also have the release ready designation and state and local designation. Before we start, if you are here live, just know that Chris is actually moderating the chat room. And so if you have any questions or comments, put them over in the chat window. Chris will go and interrupt me and make sure that I pay attention to that. And so please, if you have questions or comments, please put them over there and let's get started. All right. So this is fairly simple. It's not really data centric. It's more of and it's not parcel fabric. It's about how do you create a map? How do you create a map series inside of ArcGIS Pro? We did this a couple of years ago, and I decided to go ahead and update this again. We will not take an hour in this. This is going to be shorter than that. But the topics we're going to go over is first, we're going to talk about creating the layout, the map layout that you do. And then we're going to talk about once you've created the standard layout, and putting the standard elements on there. Well, what about dynamic text? This is one of the more interesting things when you're creating a layout inside a Pro is dynamic text. And then how do you take that layout and convert it into a map series? And then we'll look at the three different types of map series. We have a spatial map series, we have a bookmark map series, and then we have a thematic map series. And as I mentioned real shortly, the early on here, that thematic map series is very interesting because that can build upon what we did with that last workshop of doing before and after maps inside of the parcel fabric. You can actually create a map series of before and after maps. And we'll sort of talk about that at the very end. That will be the end of our component today. So let's start with this. First thing you do is you want to create that layout. You want to insert the layout into your project file. You then want to go and create a map frame. We'll talk about that and then start inserting sort of the standard types of elements in there. Let's flip over here to an ArcGIS project. Again, this happens to be a parcel fabric project, but it doesn't have to be. It can be one of a couple different things. Just also to go and show you, I have several map books that I'm going to use for some of this demonstration. So inserting a new layout in here. In fact, it's on the Insert tab, and it's the new layout. And when I do that, I have an option of what is my layout going to look like. And this sets the initial configurations on here. I'm going to set just an 18 by 24 architectural C here for this, and it creates the overall virtual page, the layout for this. And again, once you have the layout, you then begin introducing various map elements onto the map. I guess this is layouts 101. And the first thing you want to do is you want to do a map frame. Now, with Pro, you have a couple different options in here. You can insert the default extents of your table of contents. You can go and do it to the current map extent of your actual table of contents that you have for your map you're going to do for this is for the parcel fabric I have here. I can do it for one of the bookmarks already that I have in here, or I can do something other. In this case, I'm going to start here with just a standard of my current map extent on my table of contents. And when I go to insert it, basically I'm going in and just drawing a box of where this is going to be located. And it will then show me what my map extent is on here. It also, by the way, goes and gives me over in the table of contents for my layout frame. It gives me here is all of the actual elements that are in my table of contents for this frame. And if I wish to go and change what's being displayed, for example, maybe I don't need to see my parcel lines, I can actually uncheck that and it will not display them anymore. Same way with subdivisions, if I don't want to see the subdivisions or lots. So this is fully reflective of what's going to be shown in this map, including things like the symbology. If I wish to go in here and change the symbology on this, I can go and do that, and it will automatically change it in this layout for me. All right, so this is just sort of reflective of what's going to be displayed on here. Well, that's nice, but that's not a real map yet. That's just a beginning of a layout on here. So what I might want to go and do is insert some other elements in here. For example, maybe I want to put a north arrow here. And the same thing, if I pull this down, I have an option of all sorts of different arrows I have. I personally like a compass rose, but I might use this one here. Just go and drag and put the actual rectangle there. Now, an interesting thing about what Esri has done with this is that within Pro, it will reflect whatever the orientation is of that current map frame that I have up here. So that if I were to go and change and rotate this map frame in any way, that north arrow would also rotate. The same way if I go to create a scale bar and put a scale bar in here, let's go and put a scale bar here, and then I can draw that scale bar on here. And if I zoom in here, it will go and show me what the actual scale is on that map document at the moment. Let's go and put the scale bar below here. So on all of these elements that we're putting into our layout, on every one of those elements, I can click on it to select it and then right click and go to properties, and it will give me all the properties of that scale bar. For example, it'll show me whether or not it's locked, what the size is, what the scale is. I can click over here and tell it what to do when I go and adjust and change my scale, whether I go and adjust my number of divisions and the actual values that are on there, what type of formatting I have for it. There's all sorts of things, what the actual fonts are that I'm using in here for this to go and actually make it size. All right. So again, it's the way that layouts work inside of here. They basically are reflective of whatever you have. And there's several elements in here. For example, I can put a table frame in here, and this one's really interesting. So I can go, if I want to include possibly some component of, for example, one of the tables that are in my table contents over here, what I need to do is just tell it what table I wish to go and show. Let's go down and let's just show the subdivisions that are inside of here. And if I zoom in, this will show me that it's actually going and showing me the name of the subdivisions that are currently being displayed inside my data frame and some of the fields in here. Well, the fields that I wish to go and show are listed over here. So I perhaps don't want to see them as closure ratio or whether or not it's a seed or when it was created or who created it or last edited, any of those. And when I do that, I can remove them. Let's take off our area there also. Maybe I want the stated area and the calculated area to see if there's much difference in there. So that is reflective of that. Now, if I go and change to a different location, for example, let's say I want to go and change where this pans, I can actually go in here and right click and say, let's activate that. And now I can actually zoom around and move what's happening. All right. And I can go back here and activate back to my layout and activate that. And if I zoom in now to here, I can see, oh, it's changed. And it's going to go and show me that table that's reflective of what's actually in my current map extent. So again, I love the fact, the way that it's all interactive, the way that the elements of the map layout that I have here are connected to the map frame that I have. This tying in of this is really, really nice. All right. And these are just sort of standard types of things inside of here. You can, again, you create the layout, you create the map frame, and then you insert onto that layout a north arrow, a scale bar. Perhaps I want to just put a title here. Let's going to go and put a title here. A title, this is just a piece of text that I want to put here. Well, and I can go and tell it here, what is that text? Map title. I then have the ability to go and change, for example, the symbol on it, how big it is, um, where it's located, the font that it's using, all of that. And it will give me, for example, right now I'm centered on my map frame. And again, this is nice. This is standard layout construction inside of ArcGIS Pro, but I just wanted to go and show you and remind you there's a lot of elements built in here, and there's a lot of intelligence built in. But it's not the only intelligence you have in here. There's other things that you can do with this once you have a layout all built in. So I have a layout, standard layout. I could go and print this out, by the way, if I wanted to, just as it is. I can go and print it out by sharing it and doing a share and print it over to, I can export it out to a PDF if I want, a flattened PDF or whatever. It's a simple little things in here. All right. So let's go back to the layout tab. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and change this, and that I'm actually going to go and look at dynamic text. There's a lot of options in here as far as what I can do. For example, I said I have already a scale set up on here. Come on. I can set a over here on my layout options. I can go and set, there's some spelling in here. Where's my view? Insert here. I can insert some dynamic text. Dynamic text is a way to go and pull information from specific elements. For example, I can tell it what the date is or the user of this map, and automatically have it updated. Every time I print it, it will tell it who the user was that printed it or when it was printed out, when it was exported or printed in here. These are all layout sort of dynamic text that are in here, the page size on it. If it's specifically to the project, I can say, where's the default project? What's the default to your database? What's the toolbox? I can go and export out specific metadata if I want, or what's the name of this that I'm going in and doing. Table attributes, I can put specific attributes of the number of things that are in that table, and such. So there's a lot of, I can put a table statistics on here as far as how many subdivisions are specifically inside of that table. Again, these are all dynamic, and as I change things, it will change also for me. So one of the things I was thinking of doing is maybe I can go and put in here, for example, that I can do things like these are not, I don't have my map series built yet, so I can't do that yet. I'm going to go in and remove this title because that's a static piece of text. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at other elements in here. And I'm going to look at a map series. A map series in here is basically an ability to go and create and use a layout as a template, and then go and create other things from that template. So for example, I can go in here and say, I wish to go and create I wanted to use this template, but this time I want to go and create a new map series defined on a spatial layer. And on here, it will tell me what layers do I have, what actually will I actually be using in here. So I have a layer here called sections. And there's a field in there called section number. I'm looking to see, make sure. I think this is the one here I want. And I want to sort it on that name. And I can go and say, go ahead and do this. And now what happens is just by making that one change in here, I actually have created, see how many are there, automatically 680 actual maps. And if I click on if you click and activate this, it actually goes and changes the location of it. Turns out I have inside this section information, not just sections, but I also have other elements in here. This county in which I'm working is one that was predating statehood here in Florida. And so it actually has some old subdivisions and some previous areas that had been split before it became a state. So there's some interesting things, and it will go in and use every single one of those sections that I have on here and build them out as it goes. So I could actually go and take this and I could then go and print this out and create literally a map book of every single section inside of here, send it to a PDF and automatically go and be done with it. But I'm not satisfied with that because I don't know what section this is on this layout. So I'm going to now that I have a map series, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look and I'm going to go and say, I'm looking here for the map series. What's the name of the page? Well, I'm going to go and take here and say, that's my page name for this. Now, what this does is it actually goes and puts a header in here and says page name, and then it fills in the actual value of the name. So what I'm going to do is say, okay, that's a better thing in here. Note there's no subdivision in here. So I can go in and do that. And if I do find a subdivision on here, if I can find one, here's a subdivision. It will list the subdivisions in here as I'm looking at. So again, this is the name of it. See if we can find a different one here. And it has both subdivisions in here and it has part of a section on here. Still not absolutely great, but if I look at this, I say, well, this is nice, except I want to see further how does this look inside of here? So I'll go over to my data frame and I'll look at my section layer and I actually will go and turn on that layer so I can see it. And then B, I'll go in here and make some modifications on it and actually go and make this even bigger than what I have here. So I can see it a little bit better as far as where that is. I might also go in and change the symbology on this. Go to my layer, labels, and take my label and layer properties, label it, change my label properties, and make it much bigger than what it was. All right, so it actually will show a little bit better in here. Again, now we'll go back over to this tab and I can change and see how this changes all through here. This is a standard type of spatial map series, one we've had for a long time. Matter of fact, over in ArcMap, we used to call this, what was this? Map book, I think it used to be called. And this is a standard type of thing. And this is nice. But Esri recently has gone and looked at new ways that we can improve and have different ways of looking at things. The spatial map series uses an index field, a polygon feature class, and then uses the attributes of those polygons. It centers each page on that index polygon. But I can also go in here and say, well, I want to change that from the spatial to my bookmarks. And if you remember, I mentioned that I have a series of bookmarks here. So maybe I want to focus instead on those bookmarks instead of that other layer. And it'll say, okay, do you want to replace your map series with the bookmarks? And I can say, yes, go ahead and do that. I can take these now and put them, change the order in which these are located. I'm just going to leave them like this. And I now have a map series of the individual bookmarks. By the way, this is that this is the actual name of that subdivision. Oh, it's misspelled. Look at that. How do I fix that? Well, I can go in here to manage my bookmarks. I can look at Hartsfield and I can go and modify that. When I modify that, it automatically, again, I misspelled it again. Hartsfield. All right, Hartsfield survey. It then goes and reflects. Again, it is reflective of the information that's being displayed on here. And when I go in here, I can go to shell point. It shows me shell point, SOP choppy. Again, each of these are being reflected as far as the individual subdivisions that are within that map frame. We'll call it gardens, Palmetto sub, and here's the others. Gray's Place and Oak Park subdivision. Okay. So again, reflective of the information that's being displayed. And this is really interesting. But Esri just went and I think it was last year, possibly the year before, they introduced a new type of series. This new type of series is called a thematic series, and it uses a special type of group layer. It uses a group layer in your table of contents, and I'm going to go and create that group layer before I can even implement a map series using it. Note, I don't have a group layer, a radio button group layer, so it won't do that. So let me go back over here to my table of contents. Let's go and let's turn that off. And let's take this group layer. This is a group layer which has parcels and parcel lines in here. I'm going to go and make some changes on here. First of all, I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to go and just paste that in here because I'm going to make a whole bunch of changes in here. And I'm going to turn that layer off and I'm going to remove this from my group layer. I'm going to go and take this historic parcels and do that. So I now have a group layer here that has two different layers. It has current parcels. Let's go ahead and mark this out as current parcels, and it has historic parcels on here. The element that I need to change in order to be able to use a thematic map series, I need to have a type of group in here that is not a checkbox, but rather is a radio button. Now, the radio button is a way to go and have different types of thematic feature classes being displayed differently, even creating different elements in here. And it only would go and show one of them at a time because a radio button can only have one of that series displayed at that one time. So this group layer, this radio button group layer allows me to go and have this set up so it's only going to display one of those when it's going in here and drawing. So let me go back to my layout now. Now that I've changed, again, the structure of the elements that I'm showing, and let's go back now to my map series, and I can say, now let's create a thematic map series. Let's go ahead and change this. And it goes, okay, well, which layer? And this is that one layer. That's the one I have. I can tell what the first page is and such, and say, go ahead, let's do it. I now have one which will show me, again, here's my current parcels. Here's my historic parcels in here. Here's my current parcels. There's a historic parcels on here. So I can use a map series. Again, the difference between a map series and multiple map frames inside of an individual layer is a map series will go and create a separate map template for each of those. And just sort of to show you what this looks like, if I go in here and I can go and say, let's go ahead and share this map series here, and let's export it out to just to a flattened PDF file located here in my workshops. That's good. And let's call it just map series. This is a PDF that's going to be created. And say, go ahead and export it out. And I can go in here. Wrong one. Map series PDF. There's my current map page. And here's my historic map page, separate pages. I can do single page at a time. So I can use this concept of a map series, and instead of creating all those different current and historics on one page, I can create them so they have separate pages in them. So it has a larger map frame in there, and it shows more extents on there for me on here. So I have a question. Can you set up the map series to only show one of the features in the series layer in each map? Let me see if I can understand that. So you can only show one of the features in the series layout in the map. There are some interesting things you can do with map series. And let's go back here. So one of the things we didn't talk about a whole lot was the ability to go and filter or limit out what gets shown inside of that frame as you're going. There is, in fact, if you have a map series, let's see if I can get in here and figure out where to go and do this. If I click here, there is, in fact, some elements in here where, let me see if the properties, there's a place in which properties, page queries, there is, in fact, an ability to go and say, check to see whether or not in a specific field, whether or not it has a value in it, whether it matches the value of that map series or not that map series. And you can limit that by populating that field beforehand. It's a way, for example, if I wanted to go and show this map series and only show adjacent components in here and such, I'll have to think about this and probably answer you after the recording, but we'll need a little bit more detail on what you're looking for. Do you just want to show each of these, or do you want to show those series in here differently? Let me go back and show you one more thing here before we leave this. If we go back here to a view, to a layout, let me see if I get back on the layout here and go to my view. Where is this? Insert on here. If I change this back to a spatial map series, but change this is for those people who are doing parcel fabric, changes to records. Currently, this is showing every one of my records, and I might be able to go and create a selection of my records to be able to go and see my individual records and have it create a separate spatial view for each of those records, and it's only showing that one record on here that I'm doing this. Again, I'm doing all these records in this um, individual parcel fabric. But as I get in here, let me see here, there's some in here. So I can go and limit and in fact go and show some specific elements in here and define these. So you want to make sure you understand that things like a spatial map series is really only limited by your selection of the components that you're going to be displaying on here. And again, for a parcel fabric, you may be able to go in and do one based upon your records, not based upon specifically your other elements on here. So stick around afterwards because I'm gonna ask if there's any questions on here, but let's see if we can explore this question that you put up here as far as only showing certain features. There are some ways that you can trick this and get more advanced on here. So other than that, are there any other questions or any other comments on here? I think this is one of the things about, again, it got me thinking about this last week or last workshop in which we were talking about how can we do other things like this before and after map? Is it just by using two frames on the individual page, or can we do it with different pages on here? There's a lot of different ways that we can go and do this. And once we start thinking about how much Esri has built into ArcGIS Pro, there's a lot of options available to us. So any other questions or comments in here? None?
None in the
If
chat.
Thank you, sir. I will then say thank you for joining us. Stick around and we'll explore this more. But thank you, and we look forward to doing this again in the near future.